All right, we've been getting a lot of questions about how to help your dog's heel position become more precise. So we're going to be talking about that today. I have Dolly, who's a young lab with me. We have been doing some training, but her heel position isn't as precise or fine-tuned as we want it to be. So I'm going to take you guys through the step-by-step process, how we're going to build that up. So first of all, for equipment, I've got a training collar on. It's a Fur Saver training collar. I got a 6-foot small leather leash on her. I have my food rewards right here in my bait bag, okay? So we're gonna be using luring to get her into heel position, all right? So all we do for that, we say her name, Dolly. We're gonna show her a food lure. We're gonna bring her over to my left side. Once she's right there, I'm gonna say good and release the food to her. Now, heel position is how we're gonna be walking dogs, is how we're gonna teach them to walk on a loose leash. So what I have to teach her, there's several components to that. First of all, she has to be able to move from point A to point B, which would be next to my left leg where she'll be walking at. And we're gonna be doing that through the process I just showed you. So we put a food lure in our hand, we say her name, Dolly, we show her the food lure, we step back with our left leg, we bring her with our hand around to our left leg, we bring our legs back together. Now she's right next to us, now I say good and give her the food. The reason why we exaggerate the left leg and we do this exaggerated step back is because later on when we start getting rid of food rewards, she's gonna be following our hand and our left leg to go into that heel position, okay, once we've built up those repetitions. So that's why this first step, you're gonna exaggerate it. You've got your food in your hand, Dolly, say your name, show it to her. You exaggerate that left leg back. You use your hand to bring her back to that left leg with that food. You step forward and you square yourself up and then you say good and let her have the food reward, okay? So that's the process, how you're gonna start right there. You're gonna do many, many repetitions of that. If you think you're ready to proceed to the next step, this is what you need to do. You need to have no food with you. Bring her in front of you like this. No food with you, right? Then you're gonna basically repeat that process without food. Dolly, show her your hand, step back with your left leg, bring her right here into that sit position, right? We put her in a sit when she's in heel. So if you can do that without food, now you are ready to proceed to the next step, okay? Which that's gonna be using the leash to help you, all right? Dolly. So all I do is I use the leash to guide her. I'm trying to minimize the amount of movement in my left hand and my left leg. Once she gets into that position, I can say good, deliver the food again. So if I'm gonna be doing a repetitions of this, what I always do is I bring the dog out in front of me like so, and then whenever I'm ready to go, Dolly, bring her right here. I'm minimizing movement with the left leg and the hand to get her on my left side. Now, here's a troubleshooting tip. Notice how when I did that, she came out in front of me right here. So the way I'm gonna correct that at first, I'm gonna take my left hand, I'm gonna just gently slide down the leash, and I'm just gonna encourage her with my hand and leash right here together, right here, okay? Once she's next to me, good. Then I can reward her once she sits, okay? So again, your leash is gonna be helping you in this case. And before you get to this point in your training, you have to complete leash pressure work. So make sure you check that out on our YouTube channel, how to complete that, okay? Because what we're doing is we're using a leash signal right here with our hand and the leash and our leg to get her to move fluidly to our left side so that we don't have to use food continuing on. We're getting rid of the food. Notice she did the same thing. She came out, she swung her butt out this way to look at me. So again, I slide down, left leg goes back, using that leash to bring her back. Good. Now that she's in a proper position, I can reward her. And you can continue this process. You can fine tune it so that she's right next to you, depending on what you're doing. If you're doing a sport, you're gonna need her in a more precise obedience position. For pet dogs, all I'm focused on is that they're in this general area on my left side, not pushing me forward, not coming out, swinging out wide on me, okay? The step after this, the next step is gonna be, you're gonna attach a command onto that. Dolly, okay? So the movement from in front of us to our left side, that is what we want when we say heel, okay? So as soon as we say heel, we wanna see her start moving there, and we wanna get to the point where we don't have to help her at all. So now we're starting to put all this together, okay? So usually I'll start out with the dog in front of me like so. Dolly, heel. I'll slide down the leash, try to minimize as much of my movement as possible. Notice my hand's still on the leash right here next to me. I can gently pull into that leash to encourage her to sit. Now notice how she swung wide on me. I just do it again. Dolly. Right here. Good, now she's in a better position, so then I can actually give her the reward. So if she swings out wide on me, I'm not going to reward her. I'm just gonna put her back into the correct position. Once she's there, I'm gonna reward her. Now with that being said, I'll show you guys another tip here in a second. If you're struggling with a dog that's swinging out on you as you're doing your heel work like we're doing today, we can use something, an assist, to help us fine tune that position, which I'll show you. We'll pick something that most people are gonna have around their house, like a car, a tree, something like that, maybe a chair. So there's a lot of options, but basically you're gonna get her to go between this object and you, which I'll show you guys, okay? All right guys, so now we're next to a vehicle. Most people are gonna have a vehicle obviously, but you can use anything. But you just want something that's gonna provide some kind of barrier on your left side. So basically you're gonna have the dog move the same way we did before, but now the dog has to come between you and this barrier, and then you're gonna turn them around and have them face the direction you're facing to finalize that position. So we're following the same process. First we're using a lure, dolly heel, step back with that left leg, you lure her past your left side. Notice how she spins around, dolly sit. Good. So she didn't stick with the lure the whole time, but she spun around the way I wanted her to, which is fine. So now I'm going to reset her by stepping forward. I step back, grab another food lure, see if we can do that again. I got the leash in my right hand. I can obviously use that leash to guide her if I need to. Dolly. So again, lure right here. She comes around. So when she's coming around, she's not staying with the lure, which is fine. Good, but she's still getting the motion down. So now let's try without the food lure. Can use the leash to help us. Dolly heel, slide down the leash, bring her around to the left leg, swing her around right here. Good. So you guys see how this barrier is helping her stay in a better overall heel position. So I could work on this with her for a couple days next to this barrier. Short little sessions, keeping it interesting for her, keeping it fun for her and me, to fine tune her muscle memory of sitting next to me. Dolly heel. So left leg goes back. Leash is helping me bring her to the left leg right here. Good. All right, so that's how you're going to use a barrier to fine tune if your dog is swinging wide on you when you're working on this. Now let's talk about just a session where we're moving around and we're helping her stay focused on body adherence with us, okay? Dolly heel. So if I'm moving around with her, I can just do a small training area like this. I like the dog to be able to adjust to my body in a small area depending on how I'm moving. So I'll move backward like this. When I'm moving backward, I want to see her starting to move to my left side, right? Nope. And then if we stop, I want to see her sit on that left side like we've been working on. Notice how she's still swinging her butt out a little bit. So we'll need to do more repetitions next to a barrier if we want to fine tune that muscle memory to be more aligned with us. But you know, for a pet dog, this is great right here, okay? Dolly, okay, dolly heel. So again, I want to be able to walk forward. She's staying in good heel position. I want to be able to walk backward. If she's coming to my right side like this right here, all I'm going to do, take my hand on that leash like we were talking about earlier. It's just a guide, and you just guide her to your left side. So let me see if I can just back up straight from the camera. So I just back up right here, right? I want to see her seeking out my left side like we just saw her do. But if she's struggling with that, I would just slide down the leash gently. Again, it's a guide. You're not yanking her around. You're just guiding her to go that left side. So you could do repetitions of this where you're just backing up, seeing what she's going to do. Okay, if I were to stop and she stops right here, all I'll do is slide down the leash, guide her to that left side just like that. Good, then I can reward her for being right there, okay? So I like seeing that good body adherence where if I turn a certain way, I want to see her body adjust to my body, right? If I were to do a left turn like that, I want to see her adjust to it. If I back up, I want to see her stay on my left side right here, which even as you're doing this long term, remember how we built in that body language communication with our left leg? We can still use our left leg. Notice if I throw my left leg back, she's moving to it, okay? That's still a signal for her. So all these little drills are gonna be great ways to fine tune your heel position long term. And again, you should always be thinking about progressing this to get away from helping her. So in the long term future, you know what I'd be looking at with her, that proper sit position next to me, facing the same way I'm facing. Okay, if I'm turning, I want to see her adjust without me having to exaggerate my legs so much. which means we're just gonna have to do repetitions of it now, fine tune the muscle memory and the movements, and then long-term work on slowly reducing all the help and training, which help and training in this case is using our hand to move her around, using our leg to move her around, and using the leash to help her. So we're looking to reduce all that help long-term so that we don't need anything, and when we give the verbal, boom, she's right there, okay? But this is how you build that up. Now you just gotta take this information, put in the work with your dog, knock out those repetitions, and then definitely send us some videos of you guys doing this with your dog. Let us know in the comments what you wanna see in our next video. Don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate you. We'll see you later.